We're live again. So I'll say indeed, and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. I've been distraught, inconsolable, flabbergasted, at a loss for words, in shock, traumatized, in disbelief, in denial of the reality I'm in right now. Yesterday, Pipi passed away. It happened in the middle of stream. I did everything I could, even in hindsight and looking up what I could have done. I did what I was supposed to do. Pippi had this thing where she liked to chase toads. She would never bite down on them. She had this gentle way of playing with other creatures, but she wouldn't let them escape. And she would do this thing where the toad would jump, fleeing, and then if he got close to actually being out of sight, she would catch him in her mouth, and then she would carry him to an open spot, and then she would chase him again. And yesterday, the toad she found, I didn't see the toad, unfortunately, but the toad she found killed her. While I was trying to give her CPR, while I was trying to keep her limbs moving, she died. And I've been echoing in my mind that moment over and over again. And I don't know what to do about it other than smoke weed about it. That's horrible, man. And people are here for you. I can feel you, friends, here. Like, this stream is for Pipi. We're going to consider her, honor her for the little love she was in our lives. There's not more we can do in hindsight. It happened so fast. You hear people say stuff like that, but it doesn't make sense until you're in it. I've been watching her short videos. Me too. Me too, Kristen. I've been doing the same. There's a few here specifically. Wonder if it's going to be hard for me to find it. Let's see. It's definitely not easy to find it, but it has to be here somewhere. At least the doggos are okay. They haven't stopped playing. Guess there is something to learn about that too. Here's one of them. I don't even know if I've posted this video yet. Sweet girl. Like, I feel this deep sense of just wishing there was something I could do. Wishing I could save her. Wishing I could change things. I understand thoroughly how people become evil scientists. Right, I would 100% become an evil scientist if I was given the option to. What? Mess with space-time continuum? Yes, please. Sign me up. Nancy's here. Oh no, what happened? Pipi played with the wrong toad. That's the closest to an answer that I could come up with. I spent almost the whole last night looking for a reason, looking for an explanation, looking for some understanding. And this screenshot is the closest to understanding that I've been able to get. Probably going to be flipped, but symptoms of toad poisoning. And the symptoms include excessive drooling, which is the first thing that I saw. That's when I was like in a state of concern, looking at Pipi, not knowing what's going on, seeing her drooling. Her gums were red. In hindsight, it makes more sense. Her head was shaking, as in she couldn't properly hold it up. She was trying to vomit whatever was in her out. Loss of coordination. She couldn't, like, the moment that I stood up, knowing that there's definitely something wrong with her, is when she was running to this little patio, and she literally couldn't jump up onto the patio, and she went lying down. And that's when I went and checked if she was okay. Seizures. I don't know if she was getting seizures, but she was in and out of consciousness, and then in severe cases, death. In first aid, things you can do is rinse your dog's mouth. Rinse their mouth with water to remove any remaining toxins, and then wipe the gums. And we did that too. When mom brought out her cup of water, we literally was like washing her mouth as much as we could have. Like I don't know, like I went through so many emotions yesterday. Guilt, self-blame, feeling like there was something I was supposed to do differently. Shame that I couldn't save her. Anger that she was messing with something poisonous. Denial that it was happening at all. I didn't blame anybody, not even the frog. Because I know these frogs would choose differently than to have Pipi mess with them. She'd never kill them. I haven't seen her kill a single frog in my life. She'll kill rats, but she's never killed a frog or a toad. One killed her. And like it's probably still out there. I'm overdoing this Dynavap. I can see it. I'm aware as I'm packing it. I have like a bunch of what do you call them? Red flags, yes. Sirens going off in the back of my head. Like that's a lot of THC, bro. Like I know. I don't know if it helps. It kind of just makes me feel something, to be completely honest. We don't deserve dogs. They have so much heart. I don't know if we don't deserve them. I just think that if we do have them in our lives, we need to treat them like the little angels they are, as much as we can. I believe that I did that for Pipi. I believe that I made the most of the life she came here to live. I even wrote a little poem for her, and I know there's going to be waterworks if I try to read it. Every time I read it, I cry a lot. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle reading it out loud. It's nice to have you friends here. Thank you, Nancy, for your sorry, for sharing in this pain with me. I have medicines. It's not a be-all, end-all. It's not a cure-all. I might even feel worse. But this is her Pipi. This entire experience is dedicated towards her and her little spirit. Her kindnesses, her welcoming of my loving energies into her world. I don't know why, but this hit is tasting like coffee and cream. Like specifically the cream part. Our internet is working again. For what it's worth. Taking the small victories where we can. Impermanence is quite something, huh? It's a lot more than I think I bargained for. I'm thinking about the fractal of when you choose to love something or someone, you basically sign this cosmic contract, knowing that you might also experience pain. And it's when that contract comes to pay that we second guess the willingness to take on new contracts. Never let loss of love encourage you to not love again. I'm pretty sure that's a common occurrence. How many people have just contracted away from reality because of experiences like these? It's interesting to see how those two behind me are not nearly as phased as I am. I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about that part as well. It brings up this experience in me of I want to use the word second guessing. Right? It makes me second guess a few things. It makes me second guess one, my direct response. It makes me second guess two, the way animals perceive the dying. For instance, one of the cats, after Pipi had passed, one of the cats came to her in a way where the cat was aware that Pipi was no longer there. But neither of the dogs had that same intuition, that same calling. And they were playing like they're playing right now, minutes. Literally no more than 30 minutes after her passing. They were losing their mind together. Right? And if I was, let's say, mean, negative, sour, maybe I would become angry with them for being okay. Right? For showing no remorse, no sense of loss. But I don't feel that. I still feel a sense of confusion, to be completely honest. I don't get it, but I don't hate them for it. But I also don't know if there is something for me to learn. If there is anything that I want to learn from them as it relates to that exact kind of experience. I think Sam has shared something about new life with us. That's exciting. Seth, I think I'm missing a few. I'll start from the top. This cosmic contract is a brutal but worthy endeavor. It is the cosmic contract. You're in that contract right now. You signed it. You signed it by being present, by taking a breath, by consuming calories so that your body can continue its existence. I had a meal today. It tasted different. I could feel this meal was one that I had that would continue my existence in a way that I was aware I was making that choice. And I'm sure Pipi would have loved a piece of my meal today. I've been doing keto again and it's been nice. I feel a little bit more stable when it comes to my energy output. Oh, Pipi. I had some chicken and eggs and an avocado. She would have loved a piece. You're either in the Lost Club or you will be. Yeah, I'm just like taking fault with the fact that I'm becoming a more and more seasoned member of that club, Nancy. It's like it's messing with me how aware I am of the fact that things will die and I will continue to live. Until that might be the case for me too. All right, and that is where I am. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself, but I'm looking at Pipi up there, sending her lovin's. Yeah. I'm still here, Nan. His name is Seth, and baby T-Rex and I are fine. Getting him out was a bit of an experience, but I'm recovering. I'm happy that he's here with us, and that you are as well, dear Sam. It's hard to find words to say in this moment. I did dream of the two of you last night. She was hopping through tufts of grass, scaring birds and critters out of them. Ooh. Ooh. Create negative pressure. Suck those tears right back. Oh, her life was so absolutely full. She was so enriched by her environment, getting into stuff and having you to pick ticks off of her. It's true. She was so good about that too. Let's like honor her in that way. Thank you, Joe. That's beautiful. She understood very awarely. Let's say it in that way, right? Some people don't believe dogs are aware. Pipi was aware. I don't know if she was very intelligent, but she was aware, right? So in that way, I don't believe necessarily that intelligence and awareness needs to be synonymous. Is that the right way to use that word? And in her awareness, she understood that ticks were parasites and that they were eating her. And she understood that keeping them alive meant giving them another chance to potentially cause harm to her or someone else. So she would take it upon herself to make sure that she eats them after I take them off of her. Right, we can feel a certain way about that. I don't particularly want to eat ticks. She was super stoked about it. All right. She made sure. She understood intuitively that when she feels me like pulling on a piece of her and then she heard that little tick sound, literally as you pull it off of skin, she understood that there was something in my hand, right? She had that ability to like imagine in her brain just through sound and sensation alone and then understand that there was something positionally between my fingers. And she would ask, right, to take care of that threat for me every time. To the point where if I had a pair of tweezers and I would make her comfortable on her back, she would just lay there, right? She wouldn't squirm, she wouldn't struggle, she wouldn't try and run away. She would actually be present for this experience, understanding what it is I'm doing, that I'm trying to help. She really liked her own space. She didn't enjoy other people holding her or touching her. Like she was very peculiar in that way. She actually, relatively speaking, very much disliked the other dogs, especially when it came to interaction with the world, to say it in that way. When it came to interaction with dogs, she could manage them because now she was interacting with the dog. But as soon as she started interacting with the world, right, her awareness shifted to selfishness a lot, right? And it made her hate the other dogs. She couldn't fucking stand them. She would be so mean. Right. That's like, what does that mean? Interaction of the world. That's like food. That's like scritches from us. That's like getting put under blankets on her little bed. Right. If another dog came into the room and she knew that they were gonna beeline for her bed, she'll start growling. She'll be like, "Fuck off! No, this is my place. This is my soft spot." And there's more than enough place, right? And when they would all find themselves in the bed together, she'll make sure to not be touching any of the other dogs. So pedantic about it. But I would cover all of them. Kobe, uh, talking about this, is literally the exact opposite. He'll get as close as he can get to Eva. Like he'll get right up skin to skin with her, sometimes lying on top of her. I've seen them sleeping together where he's sleeping between her legs, right? Like head on one of her legs, another leg over his face. Yeah, these creatures definitely do come with their own little worlds, their own little bubbles that they do not want entered. A little Pipi. Peculiar doggo. It's not on this device. I was gonna show you a video of her chewing on grass. And then I bring my foot close and I pretend that I'm gonna take that grass from her. And then she punches the grass up in her face and is like, it's a strange creature, right? Why are you like that? Why are you so fascinated and fixated by the fact that you have some grass? Who knows? Love her. Thank you, Joe, for giving me a moment to honor her some more. Seth was the name of Adam and Eve's third child. I didn't know this at all, actually. Given to them as Cain slew Abel. Gee, given to Seth, or was the name given to Adam and Eve? The them and that makes it hard for me to distinguish. Or are we being inclusive? Because we didn't know whether or not they were male or female. Please, language. We need to evolve new language. That's gonna happen as soon as we got brain-computer interfaces. We'll probably talk English for a while, and then we'll figure something new out. I think it's going to be like a pointing. It's going to be a lot of pointing, right? Instead of saying words, we're going to be pointing with our minds at concepts. And that pointing happens a lot faster than I can use words to try and describe the things I'm pointing at. Is that insane I'm seeing? Hey, bro, you're catching me on a little bit of a. Hey, what are you doing, bro? Cat sharpening his nails on the couches. Sorry about that. You're catching me on a little bit of a lull. You should leave those things alone, bro. The cat's chasing a toad. And I said you should leave those things alone, and it instantly did. Am I the cat whisperer? Okay, no, it's going back to chase the toad. It was just taking a break, I guess. Wish you all the best. Thank you, Sinsane. Thank you, friends, for pointing me towards love with your minds. Appreciate it. How are you today? I remember one stream where we talked about her galaxy eyes. Yeah, she did have some of the most beautiful eyes on a doggo. Should go back to that video. Should be visible. For a second it is. I want to open this video, please. Thank you. You can definitely see them, some galaxy eyes. I wanted to pause it as well, but I think seeing her eyes move is what such golden little eyes. I don't know if I have any more here. We do have a bunch of videos together dancing. Right, she's always gonna be that little dancing doggo. I'm glad to see this beautiful being. It's happy to have you. Thank you, Kiefer, for joining us too. All emotions are worth fully feeling. In a way, each loss is a blessing. As we don't know the true rules of the universe, can only hope for the best and for the good things. For me, the fact that the rules of this universe says that if she touches a particular type of toad, and that toad releases a particular amount of poison, the rule says that she dies. Right, and that is the part of me that rationalizes. There was definitely a part of me last night that spent so much time in self-blame, feeling responsible that it's my fault she died. And the only way I could escape that feeling is to understand what happened. And when I found that list of symptoms for what toad poisoning looks like, it illuminated to me the rules of this universe. Right, and it can kill people too, apparently. That same toad, if a person, for some reason, as a joke, puts it in their mouth to show, oh, look, I'm so weird, I'm so quirky, puts it in their mouth, keeps it there for too long, dies. In the same way that she did. In minutes. That's wild. That's so wild. Right, and like I'm not sure if this is the best way to see it, but I definitely do anthropomorphize, especially as it relates to souls. Right, so in my mind, I believe that Pippi has a little soul, and that little soul is the same soul ultimately that I am, as awareness, as presence, as beingness itself. And to see that presence go from being here present with me to not being here anymore so quickly. That's where I don't know if it's a good idea considering it like that. Does make us really appreciate those we do have. Told my mom and my sister I love them probably 10 times last night. Yeah, impermanence. Fuck. I'm just watching this information, this stuff become a part of me, driving me, shaping me. Making me more and more determined. I don't know if I can abide by dying. At least not in preventable ways. And as technology progresses, more and more will be preventable. And as our AIs become smarter and our sensors become more sensitive, we will have the ability to determine with a relative degree of accuracy whether or not something is going to be fatal. And we can plan accordingly. I hear what you're saying with the, in a way, each loss is a blessing. But in that way, I've been blessed enough, bro. I don't know if I need any more. I don't think any of us do. You know what my mind's doing right now? It's thinking about the part of me that if I had infinite resources and the technology to, and if I had infinite resources, I would have literally cloned Pipi last night. I would have taken her DNA and I would have fat grown her back into reality. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. Oh goodness. What keeps me grounded in reality is the question I'm asking right now. So you might have answers in your head, but the question I'm asking is if those answers go away, right? What remains? What continues grounding you? I keep reducing it down to answers, and then I ask questions about those answers. And eventually I come down to mindfulness. Is mindfulness the thing that ultimately grounds me into this reality? Is just actually taking the time as a mind to see all the ways in which I'm here right now. Literally by looking around, semi-figuratively by listening. Emotionally by feeling, energetically by acknowledging that there is still drive in me, a willingness to continue forward. There's still love in my heart for other beings. Whew. Yeah, all right, that feels better. Would you enjoy a world without death? I'm going to make a world without death. And again, preventable death. Preventable death. You might still die in a freak accident, in a murder, potentially. Eventually, I would make sure you don't. 50% of you is going to be nanomachines. And I say you like I'm talking to myself in the future, watching back to this version of me right now. Right? If 50% of me is nanomachines, you can put a knife in me and I heal. Right? You can put a hole through me with a gun, and the parts of me that is reprogrammable takes up that latent space. So yeah, it's insane. I do in fact want to live in a world without death. I think death is pretty lame. I think death has had its way for a long time. And now it's our turn. All right. And maybe there can be some sort of freak horror of some deprived imagination that could awaken because of that reality. But I am not scared of death as an ultimate thing, right? For me, it's more a matter of if I'm going to die, then I'm going to live. Hear her around me, right? With the same kind of energy. I at one point wanted to commit suicide. There's a certain energy behind that feeling, right? It's a heaviness to such an extent that you want to free yourself from it. And there is this thing in me that knows that energy. And if there's a heaviness, if there is a direction that energy goes in, the opposite direction is upwards, right? Enlightenment, if you will. Love, light. And there is this hubris to taking your own life, right? It's a decision you make that is, I want to say the word ill-informed, right? It's like problem solving, but it's the worst way to solve the problem kind of vibes. And in that same kind of hubris, I want to live for as long as I can, right? Where maybe I'm trying to solve the problem in the wrong way. Maybe me thinking that if I live 400, 4,000, 40,000 years, that gives me enough time to make the impact that I think I'm supposed to. Right? And again, maybe I lose my mind. Maybe I become a supervillain in the process. But that's better than killing myself. Right? So it's like I'm playing this game with myself, you know. It's like I'm rolling the dice. And the dice of death do not seem to be helpful. They seem to leave pain. And sure, the entities that are left in pain can grow from it, but it's not guaranteed. So, yeah, surely. Surely forevers and evers. Would you love as much, feel as much if impermanence was not the rule of the universe? Yeah, I think so. I think the fact that impermanence is the rule of the universe, as you say, stops me from loving as fully. Right? Because if I loved you fully and you die, that sucks. Right? In the most simple of terms. Not a great experience for anyone involved. Where if I love you fully and you don't die for thousands of years, and I get to love you fully for thousands of years, right? Depending on what you value, that to me seems like the better option. That to me seems like the real value, right? That seems to me like the point. The point's not to love each other and to die. The point is to love each other, right? We die because our biology falls apart slowly, right? Every single time DNA is copied, we make mistakes genetically, right? That can change, right? And again, it's like a matter of preventability. Like if you think about all of the diseases we as human beings face, every single one of them, right? And I'm talking about the age-related, or let's say the highest mortality diseases. A lot of them is very age-related. We're definitely doing a lot environmentally to ourselves with the foods we're eating and the things we're smoking and drinking and et cetera, and driving, right? So there's definitely a lot more taking human life than ever before. But if you boil it down and you look over time, age, right, growing older, and our cellular intelligence basically falling apart slowly but surely, is the number one cause of death. Right. So in the same way, we see COVID-19 right now, and there is this global effort to get a vaccine to actually make sure that people get some sort of immunity against this deadly virus. Aging is going to take on that same role in our brains as a species eventually. It's like already technically happening, but it's going to become a collective thing, right? And our resources and what we value is going to go towards that kind of progress, and we're going to make a lot of progress. We're already technically making a lot of progress right now. It's so so that's kind of what I'm talking about, right? It's like we're carrying this sickness that our species have had for a very long time. And it's happening conveniently at the same time that our species is having significantly less children, which means that there is this double whammy incentive for us to figure out how to not die. Because if we don't, our species does. And sure, some people will still opt out. Some people will still die at the age of 80, 90, 100. Some people won't. And those people will be the future humanity, right? And in that way, you get to align yourself. And your life will be just as worthy, right? It'll just be lived in the time frame that you choose. Pippi was what, 4 years old? No, 3 years old. Still a young doggo. Still so young. But her life was lived full, right? So to me, it doesn't really matter if it's 80 years, 800 years, 8,000 years, because the point is to live the life you were supposed to live, right? And if I get to live a life that long, then I was supposed to live it. And if I don't, then I wasn't. Right? And I'm not going to hold any grudges against the universe. I'm gonna be a little bit bummed that I didn't get to live to 1,000 years just to have bragging rights. But still, it's gonna be fine, right? I don't mind the impermanence either. From a perspective of when you eat an apple, right? The apple ends. The part of me that I am is the part of me that likes to be able to stand up and go and get another apple if I so wished. Good old calories. A world without death, where bitter old assholes get to engage with the rest of us for all of time. Fuck all of that. I mean, the Earth is billions of years old, dear Sam. Mama Gaia, billions of years old. And I love her just as much. In fact, more. I love her more than I did 20 years ago. Right? So Mama Gaia is 20 years older on top of the billions she already had. And I love her more now than ever. Right? So, again, as above, so below. As within, so without. The problem, and again, this is a matter of perspective, but if you think of old people as bitter old assholes, I believe maybe there is some sort of truth in that. I have met my fair share of old bitter assholes. However, if you look at the reason for being bitter and an asshole, it's usually pain and insecurity related, right? Where if you're an old person, you're more likely to be in pain and you're more likely to be insecure about the fact that your life is over, about every single decision that you've made, right? And being in that position that you are at that point in your life because of all of those decisions. And you not having a hope to potentially make new decisions that could affect your future life because your future life is death. You don't have that long left, right? How can you expect a person like that to not be an asshole? But again, if that's not the case, if you at 105 still look like a 35-year-old, still have job opportunities, still have the opportunity to go and meet new people, to see new places, to have experiences, to go and watch movies, a work of art that your friend made, whatever, add your thing there, right? Why would you be bitter and an asshole, right? Guess it's just a matter of perspective. I try to look for the good, right? As I look for the good, I might find things that could be better, but that rarely makes it impossible for me to see what is right in front of me. I know bitter young assholes as well. All right. If we're gonna throw punches, we should throw punches at both sides. Sam's good to see you again, always. It's easier to be here now that the little raptor has somewhat predictable schedule in the morning, and that does help. Grateful saying his part. Sending your little one blessings as he sleeps still. That's nice. Why are you the one always tested by the feelings of loss? Seems reoccurring in different ways in your life. I believe there's a reason, or a lesson, or maybe a test behind this. Or is it randomness? You know, like if you want to reason about this, it's insane. My battery is on 34%. Nice. If you want to reason about this, I have a reason. All great people in life experience trauma. You know, and like if you look at history and you look at people that end up following a trajectory of changing the world in one way or another, almost every single one of them go through hardship in their life, go through struggle, go through loss, go through pain. And I am very grateful to be here, right? I feel very lucky. I feel very blessed. I feel very fortunate to exist in this state, to say it in so many words. I feel so lucky, in fact, that I feel it's unfair. And I understand that this universe requires balance. And as a result, I find myself experiencing pain and loss a lot. And to me, the lesson in that is gratitude, right? As soon as I start hating the world, as soon as I start hating the universe, that's when I've lost, right? And I keep getting that test day in, day out, day in, day out, over and over and over again. And that's where my whole message of love is true comes in, right? Like I've experienced life for decades before I started streaming, right? And this kind of stuff has happened to me for decades before I started streaming. So all you've seen is like a fraction of the kind of iterative bullshit machine that the universe kind of gives me. And I'm still the person that I am, since insane. I feel a sense of hubris, right? An aggression, even. Like I'm supposed to be this person because of the level of bullshit this universe throws at me, bro. Like living in South Africa right now is a shit show. So fucking stupid. Oh man, they're like speed running any percentage fucking our country up. Jeeps. So yeah, there's like this infinity loss. So, and again, I'm MeltMore, which means in my fractal, if there is such a thing as loss, then I am supposed to create. I'm supposed to add value. I'm supposed to make more, right? And that is the whole. That's the whole situation we're in. It's insane. It's been the situation we're in for a long time. It's a kind of conundrum. Little bit. It's a paradox. The situation. I mean, yeah, and I don't have a way out of it. So I show up for it. Right. That's how we're here. Huzzah! Yay! On this ride we call life together. At least we're together, right? Yes, imagine going through daily turmoil and bullshit and loss and this and that and the other alone. No one to confide in. That would be true mind losings. I think impermanence just is, for example, the seasons change. Impermanence is part of that. I look at impermanence as a good news, bad news kind of thing. Shirley is here, jeez. Uh, bless. Love is true. I'm still curious who the Shirley is. Who is Shirley? I'm surely is one of the people that have been here for a long time. Or is it possible that Shirley is actually just a person called Shirley and just happened to be here for these moments? Meltmore, thank you for the reminder, bro. I'm happy that you were here to hear that part, insane. What do you think, bro? Uh, I'm hearing you need therapy. I agree. I agree. I would not I would not fight with this assessment. However, in the meanwhile, I'll take deep breaths. I'm not pushing anything away for the most part. I try to be very present with the nonsense I face in life as much as I can. Right? I think true psychosis and like deep-seated depression only sinks in if you keep avoiding over and over again the things you're supposed to be feeling. I spent a proper time crying last night as well. I'll probably cry some more. You don't have to process it all at the same time. Maybe that's good advice to give ourselves as well. Oh yeah, Jobo, surely. Is that quack? Golly, I missed that weirdo. Maybe it is. It might be a Duck Dad thing to do. I did see Duck Dad in the Discord yesterday. Duck Dad, his beloved and his little one too. You rang. Much love to beloved Wonder Pup Pippy. Thank you, Shirley. Oh, question. If there's not death, is there still aging? That is an important caveat. I don't think so. Right? Like that's gonna be the thing we go for first, technically, Kristen. Is we're gonna go for aging first. And then as we fight aging, right, time will pass and our computers will gain in processing power and algorithm optimization and artificial sophistication and sensor sensitivity and proper data and actual experimentation and etc., right? We can go into infinitum. And then literally every second, every year that passes after you've already added a little bit of anti-aging means that by the time you want to go for your next treatment, the anti-aging is even better. And then by the next time, even better still. And by the time you realize you're not aging anymore, and right, like that's gonna be how we get to not dying. And again, there will still potentially be the potential for you to be dying, right? And again, it could be a freak accident. Maybe you're on a train, gets derailed, and explodes. I don't know why I went there. Could happen. Could happen, right? Maybe you're in a plane, depressurizes, you get sucked out of the thing, right? Maybe you wouldn't be able to sustain that fall. But then again, right, my mind with this whole we extend time, and now 1,000 years had passed. I'm still a biological being, mostly biological being. I got some augmentations in different ways, but I'm like 95% still flesh. And then we properly figure out. I mean, I think it won't take us 1,000 years, but let's give us 1,000 years, right? I'm being very conservative. 1,000 years pass, and now we've developed nanomachine technology, which to me, right, might sound like very eerie, but it's basically the same thing as your cells, right? In the same way you have biological cells and they can differentiate depending on what function they're supposed to play, you have the equivalent of that as machinery. And machinery, in that way, can be reliably programmable. And then, essentially, you replace your actual cells with these little machines, and they take up the same function that your cells used to. And then, if somebody puts a hole through you, now instead of you bleeding out, you just made a hole in a bunch of small machines, and they can instantly reorient themselves and fix you, heal you, right? And then, boom, maybe fatal accidents cease being fatal as well, right? And you just have to survive 1,000 years. I can do that. I say maximum hubris. Hey, Eva, are you okay? She sounds like she's sneezing almost. Uh, by the time I'm 100 years old, it's gonna be the year 2098. 2098, I'm gonna be 100 years old. Can you imagine what technology is gonna look like in the year 2098? I can't. I unironically can't. All right, I think it's so far beyond what I can even fathom right now that I don't even want to try. Hey, there goes my phone. It's fine. I didn't get hurt. Aging, yes. We just become more decrepit and feeble. Maybe you. Until our relatives are forced to carry around our living dust. Jeez, it's almost worse than dying. I mean, if you want, right? Again, it's a matter of imagination. Like all of us, relatively speaking, are still very far away from dying. All right. For some of us, it's 30 years. For some of us, it's 50 years. For some of us, it's 100 years. Relatively speaking, when it comes to how long we can expect humans to age, right? And a baby was born recently, and they are pseudo in this space. So we're giving them 100 years, right, on the scale. So in that 100 years of stuff happening, right? We're imagining the edge case of like getting close to then dying, right? And then it's up to our imagination, right? If you imagine yourself being decrepit and feeble at the end of that 30 years, right? That's your prerogative. Is that the way you use that word? I like to imagine myself at the end of my 100 years in the year 2098, still able-bodied, still capable of moving through the world, still capable of making art, still capable of having a meaningful conversation with a fellow stranger, still capable of going on an adventure, climbing a mountain, going swimming with dolphins, right? That's the way I imagine that version of myself. And I am one of those hippie, dippy, whoopie, bajoopy Owens that believes that where you project your mind, you end up, or at least you're getting closer than you can hope to if you don't, right? And if you imagine yourself decrepit and feeble, you're probably more likely to end up there. And if you imagine yourself able bodied and capable, the same is true, right? And I'm pretty sure we have some evidence statistically for this too. So it's not just my hippiness. There's some truth to it. Mm. Seven Sai, it's great to see you. Love is true. Oh, Javan, yes. I thought Didi's AKA was Tina. Might have been. I've got to head out, but first I'll drop a goodbye message. Love to you, Kristen. Thank you for sending us a goodbye message. Processing is a process. You wouldn't want to feel it all at once, is true. We mourn the loss. Thank you, dear friend. If we weather the storm, melting away the hurt, it resolves in peace and acceptance, and we'll be able to look at the memories with acceptance and feel happiness towards them once again. I have been feeling happiness towards her memories at the very least. Like I feel like that part of the process is. Right, I'm so grateful for the time we did have together. More than anything. I split it up, Kristen. It's okay. Love is true. Oh, gee, please, Ken. I would want to feel all the feelings. I would want to feel all the feelings all at once. Test how strong I am. Um, I think there's something called dimethyltryptamine that will give you close to what you're looking for. Is what you're looking for? Doesn't exactly. It kind of has that effect of like giving you all the feelings all at once, right? You get to feel the level of information and feelings that would be associated with 1,000 years in 5 minutes. But again, it's one of those things where my experiences have illuminated to me that I'm actually here to feel this real experience, as they say, as I'm trying to be convinced of, apparently. Totally real. I think that would be considered a download, and you'd be a cyborg. Yeah. Yeah, it's true though. I get what you're coming from, bro. I get it. That's why I've went there too. There is value in feeling that much all at once. Every single time, I just felt this, again, extreme responsibility towards humanity. Like this burning desire to share with them the truth. Why are we all jumping to the conclusions that we are? We're trying to survive. Makes sense when you try and like boil it down to that as well. Because again, that's the other thing about it, Cyborg, is that when you go through an experience like that, it also becomes very clear to you that you cannot always be in that experience. Right? The same state in which you have to be to survive, the same state in which you have to succeed at getting the spoonful of food you just scooped all the way to your face so you can take a bite of it, is not the same energy of experiencing all of the feelings at the same time. Right? They're counter to each other. Then we reduce, we filter out all of that experience so that we can manage the spoonful of food all the way to our face. And then in that process, we lose, we forget that we are a part of the same thing, that we are one, right? As all the teachers ever has been teaching us. I wouldn't do that. I always get the same trip and I still don't know how to navigate the feelings of it. That's what happens when you have all of the same feelings. It would just hit me on that one and stop there. I'm not one to tell other people what their experiences are gonna be. And for that reason, I usually take a certain level of fault, you could say, issue with other people when they say they know what they can expect. All right, because it is one of those things where we don't. That's kind of the point of it, is that you don't know. That's why you have an experience like that. And all of that anxiety, all of that stress, all of that resistance inside of you to not do that is the evidence that that ego version of you doesn't know what's waiting on the other side of its own non-existence. And in that way, it is going to be a new experience because you are a new person. Your ego does have this sense of continuation, this linear existence. However, it adds, right, experiences and identity to the experience as it continues unrolling. So the version of you that's unraveling in the moment, the version of you that's melting, is a new version of you, right? And when you have that moment of fear, when you have that moment of panic, some people have as well, when you realize what you are is melting, right? What I find helps is reminding myself I can melt more. Instead of trying to like regather myself and being like, oh no, I'm losing who I think I am. I realize that who I think I am is actively melting and I can melt more. And I'll wake up again the next day and I'll have another opportunity to be who I am, right? Like this is an unfolding process, always. There is a, if we're willing to. I, in my last experience in Sane, was very resistant, very unwilling to say it in so many words. Right? There was a part of my experience that I knew I just had to have my eyes closed. And I had to absorb the experience for what it was and what it had to give me. And then I would find a reason. I would go and look for something. I would try and find the right meditation. I would do this instead, do that instead. Instead of just closing my eyes and being there for my internal experience unraveling. And it is intense. It is intense. It always is. But the human experience is. So it shouldn't come as a surprise. I don't think, at least. I have been here with your friends. I don't want to believe in those thoughts of grandeur that I always tackle, regardless what drugs I take. It sucks. I don't want the responsibility of a god. I have bad news for you, dear Sensei. It's the worst news ever. You already do have the responsibility of a god. And like, let me share this story with you, Sensei. You might be like, no, no, no. I'm poking fun. Right. I was going to sleep, and then I heard this sound that sounded like something semi-sticky falling on plastic. Right. That like kind of sound. And I was like, what's making that sound? And then I went into my bathroom and I saw my little dustbin. It has one of those little swinging lids. And it was in the corner of my bathroom. And I hear the sound is coming from it. And I open this little swinging lid, and there's nothing in it but two frogs. One frog is actively trying to jump out. The other frog is completely bone dry. Right? Looking like he's very not okay. And he has not been very not okay for a long time. And again, maybe frogs don't have that same level of cognitive reasoning. But can you imagine how terrifying it would have been if you, as a person, found yourself falling into a hole with a swinging door, and then you're in that hole and you're screaming for help, and you're seeing in that hole with you a skeleton, bone dry, right? They're in there with you, right? So instantly panic, right? Most people will probably start praying to God in that moment. Oh, please, God, please, please, I'll be the bestest, bestest. If you could just get me out of this hole, you know? And in that same way, I had this whole moment of acknowledging and acceptance, illusions of grandeur, if you will, that that's the role I play in that frog's life in this moment, right? If there was a prayer to be sent into the universe to God, the closest thing to God that frog is gonna get is me, is you in this world. You are the closest thing to God this world has. And in that way, every single one of us has the responsibility, right? Like, we can pray to God all we want, but it's people that's gonna be the ones that help us, right? The whole fractal of people praying to God while their house is being flooded, right? And then they have to get on their roof, and then people on boats come to them. It's like, come on, and we're saving you. And it's like, no, I'm praying. I asked God to come and rescue me. And they're like, okay, suit yourself. And then another boat comes, and he's like, no, as the water keeps rising. I'm praying, God is going to come and save me, don't worry. And then the water keeps rising, and then a helicopter comes around, and it's like, come on, we're trying to save you. He's like, no, thank you. I'm praying, God is going to come and save me any second now. And then he dies. And because he was such a devout Christian, he goes to heaven, and he gets to ask God a question. Why didn't you save me, God? And it's like, are you fucking on about it? I sent three guys. Three people. Not three angels. Three glowing orbs coming from the sky. No, human beings. Right? We are. It's insane. We are that. But the idea of a new experience is enticing for me, for trying something new. Yeah, that's worthy, right? I feel like that's what it's supposed to be about, is that you basically plan on it. You get yourself some stuff set up, maybe nice things to eat, maybe good music you want to listen to, maybe a movie you've been meaning to watch, maybe a couple of episodes you've been saving for yourself, maybe a walk in the park, skate on your rollers, drive on an EUC, right? Maybe there's something for you. And then you embrace some lions, maybe a monkey if you're feeling frisky. And then you have a new experience. You show up for that new experience. I do believe that's why we're here. We get to experience so much. And it is one of those things where even if we tried to experience all of it, we cannot. We cannot experience it all. Some of it will go without us. This is a Noddy book. You American friends know Noddy? Noddy. Very interesting. This book, when it was bought, was $2. These stories are not short. My money! It's gone, cried Noddy, and tears began to run down his cheeks. I had a hole in my pocket, and I didn't mend it. My money has dropped out, every bit of it. Now I shan't be able to buy anyone a present. Poor Noddy. All of his cash is begonest. Noddy says, if you're not very clever at guessing, well, it rhymes with money. What? So now it's mended, and his money is safe. And the very first present he buys tomorrow morning is going to be for Mrs. Tubby. You can guess what it is. It's something that she likes just as much as little teddy bear does. Rhymes with money? It's probably honey. Look at me, big brainedness. Is every single one of them ending with a little quip? Whoa. Okay, no. A letter from Noddy. Yes, see, I don't know Noddy could write letters. I think the most interesting part to me is that he writes in TypeScript. Hello, boys and girls. Guess who I am? Yes, little Noddy. And if you come to Toy Town where I live, you will always know when I'm coming because my blue bell has a bell on top which goes jingle, jingle, jingling. This is making me die inside a little bit. Why do we read this to children? Yeah, this is pain. Yeah, this is some pain. Hey Google. None of my devices. What is the Noddy franchise worth? Not naughty. Noddy. Nay. I'm just thinking about the power of images. This comes from the 1949. Enid Blyton's books have been hugely successful, selling over 600 million copies worldwide and translated into approximately 90 languages, indicating the significant reach and popularity of her characters. Enid. Enid? Enid? Enid. Probably Enid, right? In 1996, Clarion, a media rights organization, acquired the Noddy brand from Enid's daughters for 13 million pounds. Yes. The acquisition included a vast library of over 700 books and 10,000 stories. That's incredible. Reports indicated that the Noddy brand was worth in 2006, 166 million US dollars. This significant increase in value within a decade of Chorion's acquisition demonstrates the brand's strong commercial potential. Holy shit. So there's no more numbers recently, but the most recent numbers is like close to 200 million US dollars. A company created 200 million US dollars with cute little characters. That's wild. I don't understand how this world works. Not properly. Her daughters got 16 million pounds. Her daughters never had to work again because of their mom's work. You can feel two ways about that. One way is like, that's not good. I don't particularly feel that way, at least. I feel the way about it, like, how can I ensure the same for my kids in the future? Do I want them to sell my brand, though? Maybe. Maybe if they could manage to. I think I have to restart these ones. There we go. Froze my screen saying, hey, Google, sorry about that. Sorry. But the idea. Okay, we have come to the end of today's stream. I'll show you a flower, one made for Pipi. I'll read you her poem and eulogy, or what do you call it? Tribute? I think tribute is a good word. There's the flower. And then the tribute. Thank you, Kristen. Pipi and the Toad. One more. She found another toad. She always did. She never hurt them. She'd pluck them from the grass and place them where she could watch them jump. She loved that. The waiting, the spring, the chase, not to win, just to be a part of the dance. But today, the toad was not a friend. But yesterday, Toad was not a friend. It left poison on her tongue. She didn't know. How could she? I saw her drooling. Something was wrong. I rinsed her mouth. I held her. But before I could do more, she slipped away. Fast as breath in winter. Pipi is gone. She didn't die. She didn't die chasing a car or growing old and tired. She died being herself, curious, playful, present. A little life who made every moment full just by showing up. Now the house is quieter. Her paws will not echo down the hall. I hear her scratches at the door, but open to the memory of without her. And that line, there was literally a moment last night where I could literally hear her scratching against the door. And I opened the door quickly, relatively speaking. And when I opened the door, she wasn't there. And it, like that moment, especially last night, messed with me. I hear her scratches at the door, but open to the memory of without her. But in that memory, she runs and watches and waits, still a part of the world, just not in it. Goodbye, little one. Thank you for everything. Lieve Pipi, my Oefie. Ek is so jammer dat jy so dood gegaan het. Wens dit meer tyd gehad. Ek is lief vir jou. I love you, friends. Thank you for joining me. Eulogy works. I think it does. Love is true. I appreciate you, friends, finding yourself here in this moment with me. One more moment for Pipi. Sweet little doggo. I appreciate you, friends, for being here with me. I love you. I'll see you again soon. Stay strong. Continue forward. Know that you're very loved. See you, friends, again tomorrow.